back to the Dolor factor, we spoke with Jackie, as I said earlier, in a previous show, and I just felt that the situation, the subject matter was just so important that we just couldn't cover it in one show. So she's back with me. So thank you so much for returning, Jacqueline.
Happy to be here.
We were going through the list of things people should consider if they're going to be getting married, the things they should talk about before they get married. And we spoke about the term, the social contract. For the benefit of those who are watching this for the first time, and also to reinforce to our returning viewers, can you define or tell us what a social contract is?
Okay, it's a social contract, as I said earlier, implicit. It is an agreement that we make with another person. In our case, in talking about marriage, by agreeing to a marriage, you have made a social contract to join your life with somebody else's. So it's setting a condition by which the two persons will live.
Okay, now, for example, we're setting the conditions. A lot of people might think, well, we live together, we know how we live together, but things change when people get married, right? So what are the things that you think that people should not take for granted or assume that it will be okay when they get married?
Oh, long list. This will go on forever, but we'll highlight some of the important ones. Home ownership. Where, what size, how much money you're going to invest in a home. Money in general. How are we going to manage it? How are we going to invest it? Are we having one bank account? Are we having two?
You know, as you said that, I think a social contract, people have to come to the table being completely open and honest about everything, especially when it comes to money.
Oh, yes.
Because sometimes we live a certain way with our partner, and because they don't know what's in our bank account, they don't know exactly how we're living. They don't know all our debts. And I think it's the time to set everything on the table and say, I have $5,000 debts.
Right.
I have $2,000 on this credit card. I owe $100,000 on my mortgage, or I'm behind with my rent with my landlord.
Absolutely everything.
And give the more or less a ballpark figure. It doesn't have to be the exact to the, you know, the pounds, shilling and the pence, or the dollars and the cents.
But the truth is, do we do that for ourselves? You know,
that's why a lot of us are in debt and trouble. It's a
we
problem.
don't stop to study our assets and our liabilities. We have a balance sheet as we live. And as you say, if you're going to go into this agreement, take your balance sheet with you. This is where I stand. How then do we as a couple take on this and manage it as a couple? Because but by and large, it's common law that we're talking about in terms of what marriage is in our region. So what belongs to one belongs to the other at the point of marriage.
Right, and the other thing to consider as well is if there are other children before the marriage.
Absolutely.
If you have children, discuss their ages and discuss what responsibility each parent has. So especially with your husband, you say, okay, how old is your son or daughter? Do you intend for them to go to college? How are you going to be saving towards that? How is it going to implicate me? And what if we have children? So all these things.
Money is a big one.
Yes.
Really, really big one.
Yes.
So we have home ownership, we have coming out of that money. But then we have children. How many? What schools are we going to send them to? Who is responsible for discipline? How are we going to discipline? Corporal punishment is a big issue on the table now. And sometimes one parent agrees, the other one doesn't. Resolve that, because you're going to have to discipline children. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have to discipline them. Talk about it. Religion. Which religion are we raising our children? Are we actually going to practice a faith? And if we are not, are we going to fundamentally say to them, there is a God, or leave that up to them? All of these things have a discussion.
And also the cars. Sometimes someone has one or two cars, so now you have 2 or 3 cars coming together. Decide then which one are you going to sell, where's that money going to go to?
Exactly.
You know, because it now belongs to the two of you. To give the person the opportunity. And I actually think if you sit down and have this conversation before you get married, you can tell whether you should get married or not.
Yes.
Because if someone says, well, look, this is mine and I spent all this money on it, and you say, well, okay, I understand that, but remember, I contributed towards it, and they go, no, well, it's mine. I think that's a telltale, a worrying sign.
Absolutely.
That you need to iron it out before you get into getting married.
Yes, and that time sitting down, listing the things that going into that session with the other person, you make your list coming in. I have my car that I'm really passionate about and I really, really, really want to keep it. But it might be old and expensive to maintain. Are you willing to give that up? Like you say, is it a make or break situation?
Yes, yes.
Exactly when you're going to say, okay, enough is enough, and maybe this is not going to work.
Yes.
And it gives you the great opportunity to realize also that I'm holding on to things that maybe might not be that important.
Yes.
And then you have to consider what your spouse also is going to compromise with. Because if one person is going to give up and the other one doesn't, that brings up another situation for you.
Yes.
So you really have to be willing to say, well, okay, if one person is willing to give up this, then I would be willing to give up something as well. Is it important to you to get married, or is it important to you to hold on to something? That might be the question you're asking yourself as you go through that. But it really gives you, take it step by step, bring all your issues as you said, and discuss each one. Sometimes it may take longer than you thought it would, but at least put in that time beforehand so that you're not facing the challenges afterwards as, but this was my car and I always wanted it. What are you talking? I always wanted 5 children, but I only wanted 2. Those things will come up if you don't do it beforehand.
Thank you, Jacqueline. When we come back from the break, I'm going to go through the list that I have that I think people should consider if they're getting married. See you soon.